Alright, welcome back to another episode of Kira Kira Kaken Kawa. To show them the stuff that happened in the previous episode, well, Hana decided that he wants to leave the school. He told several of his buddies, and one of them being Kazu, who probably in turn told Joey, because when Hana decided to head in some documents, leaving the school at midnight, at that very same time, Yui appeared, and they talked to each other, stuff like that. Yui was coming up like someone who knew what Hana was planning to do, so she came onto him very hard. And not only that, she even said that she loved him back, and they get stuff together. But that did not stop Hana from what he wanted to do, and he's still gonna be leaving the school to pursue Rod. And now we're gonna be talking about it with Yoshizawa Sensei about leaving. So let's see how that goes, I suppose, and whatever else comes up. Yoshizawa Sensei looked at the notice after I handed it to her and sighed with a sullen expression. There you have it. My apologies, I thought he was just gonna leave the resignation the day before at the night. And just now we're gonna bother coming back to school again, but I guess you still wanted to mention that to her? When I bowed to her, I heard a nurse sighing. I know it was a problem, child, so I'm sure she would have detained me from leaving. Once about and left this room, it would all be over.
本当にあなたはファッキンでクソったれな生徒でしたね。
My apology, huh?
本当にあなたはファッキンでクソったれな生徒でしたね。
You drove her so mentally insane that she's saying stuff like this. Wow. Huh? What was that? Did Yoshizawa Sensei just speak like some low-class bitch? What? Like, the description is dead. I looked at her with a surprise. She had furrowed her brow and looked like she had just swallowed poison. I guess she ate at the words that came from her own mouth. Sensei, did you just say shithead?
これがあなた方の使う言葉なのでしょ。私にはやはり理解できません。なぜこんなおぞましい言葉をわざわざ好んで使うのでしょう。
I think this was probably the first time Sensei ever used such repulsive words in her entire life. Just what is going through her head?
食べず嫌いはいけないと思ったのですが、やはり気の迷いだったようですね。
Does this mean that maybe Sensei was trying to understand me? No, not maybe. She was.
私にはとても理解できませんが、あなたはそういう世界へ進むと決めたのですね。
Yes, my mind is already made up. These feelings will never change. After comparing my determination, Sensei heaved an heavy sigh.
きっとそれはろくでもない世界だと思いますが、あなたにとってはそうすることが夢なのですね。
Yes, this is the life I've chosen for myself. I believe that you too will come to understand someday, Sensei.
残念ですが、私は理解したくありません。ですが、そういうことなら、私にはもう何も言うべき言葉はありませんね。
Sensei averted her eyes from me in resignation.
とにかく、体に気をつけて頑張りなさい。あなたのようなクソったれな生徒でも、死はちゃんと見守っていてくださいますから。ファッ
Yes, I said the second she uttered those repulsive words on her own. Yet to me, those words were the greatest encouragement I could receive. Although this is the very last time I'll see each other, I finally understand why I could never come to hate her. I guess I have a good eye for people. Sensei, thank you very much! Wow. With this, my life as a student ended slightly earlier than others.
ああ、すごい勢いで走ってくわよ。本当にこのまま行かせていいの？
Yoink. From the top of the roof, they watched Sota's small figure running off. Yui should have known that Sota headed to the faculty room in his personal clothes, yet she didn't try to see him.
だって私が行ったって引き止められるわけじゃないし。そうだけどさ、なんかね。
Although she held such unbearable feelings, Yuka watched as Sota ran off.
本田君はいつも全力疾走なんだよね。
If this is going to be, for like being very near the ending, this is going to be combined with another footage that I recorded of this. Yui looked up at the sky as she muttered to herself. I don't want this to be a super short episode now. After seeing how calm Yui felt, Yuka sensed something was different.
ねえ、本田と何かあった？なんで？
Yui's expression completely changed. That it was all the proof Yuka needed? She knew Yui far too well.
やっぱりあったのね。2メートル以上近づいちゃった？あ、もしかしてマイナス？
As Yuka teased Yui, Yui's cheeks turned red.
何の話よもう。からかわないでよね。でもそれならなおのことこのまま行かせちゃっていいわけ？
What did Yui feel as she watched Sota leave? All she could tell was that Yui wasn't swallowing in sadness.
うん、いいの。私だって言いなりにだけなってるつもりないもん。へえ、そうなんだ。うん、そうなの。
The two girls giggled together. Then Yui looked up at the bright blue sky. Oh yeah, they played the original song that Super Akano was made together. That was a pretty sweet moment. I bet you had them, I'm not gonna lie. The two girls giggled together. Then Yui looked up at the bright blue sky. I really can't wait to remember. Actually, that's not the right word. I mean, technically is, since I'm gonna be playing the routes again. But speaking of, the last time I played that version was 11 years ago. And I genuinely liked it. But yeah, I can't wait to see how he's doing again in that visual novel. Whenever I end up picking their traps on this channel. Then, anyways, then you looked up at the bright blue sky and giggled again.
本田そうたのバカ野郎!
As Yui shouted up at the crystal clear blue sky that summer was coming to an end. I felt like I heard the sound of Yui's voice, so I ran as fast as I could without looking back. I know I'm an idiot. I know I might be hard to Yui, or even other people too. But this is the only thing that I can do. That's why I won't look back. I just have to keep moving forward. I don't know or care what lies down the road ahead. I'll keep moving forward. I won't let myself ever stand still for even a minute. Yui, I'm going to become the sun. I'm going to become the sun, you'll see. I didn't know if I was saying that to Yui, myself, or somebody else. Damn it, Yui, I love you. Yui! Ah!
振り向かず歩んでく君の大きな
That's gotta be the song we didn't. The new song that the new second literature club that's created that we haven't heard. That's currently playing. And I guess this is where we're gonna end. Unless you wanna give me an epilogue? If not, then yeah, this is definitely going to be combined with the other footage I've recorded. So. That, how to explain this? That song and singing reminds me of the Dragon Ball Heroes theme, or at least one of them. Honestly, way to go, pal. I'm still so proud of you for punching him in the face. It's the last thing you'll ever be able to do and win against this bastard, unfortunately. Yeah, it really does remind me of Dragon Ball Heroes too. And I really like the song. And even more so, especially when at the end, a female vocalist starts singing, which was... But I heard it for the first time. I was really surprised, but I really like that part. Well, is this the end, or are we getting an epilogue? To be continued. Continued. Oh! Hey! Sick! That's good. It's just a regular or extra bit of a chip disease. I'm gonna see if I missed any. Oh, song library and scene replay. Cool. Did I miss? Oh, the sushi disease that I missed. A bunch of disease that I missed. What? I'm supposed to be getting something for this, huh? Perhaps because it's empty. Rock and Nerds Never Die. 3 songs. Oh, it's the Mania music. This one's the original. Wait. What? That's the second literature club. Excuse me, that's not for. Oh wait, rock and roll and never die. Sorry, I'm an idiot. Okay. And that's the one. Okay, I'm definitely. When I'm on YouTube, I'm looking this up, and I'm definitely going to see it to my playlist. I liked it. I like how I don't understand Japanese, but I like how it flows. The song of this, and there we go. This is our original song, and this is a pretty kick-ass logo of Super Rock and Roll Nerds. I'm not gonna lie. Anyways, wait, messages. I was gonna get to the what? I was gonna get to the options that we never went to before, but by starting from the beginning. But oh, okay. Out of the second stage we go, I guess. Track number 1, Zigzag Rock and Roll Train. Okay. Ah, okay. Okay, I guess that was Right, when... did I say this at the beginning of this series? That they're gonna get two different stars? I guess we are. But also, technically, the description did mention that they're supposed to appear. That is. I've this part as well. Anyways, yoink, please. Yeah. The group of people gave up a desolate aura that made them hard to approach. Who is that? It was hard to tell. Wait. I'm gonna get to the original Kira Kira visual novel. Because I'm now sort of slightly remembering who these and that dude is. This dude, the big. That I believe that's her girlfriend, but I gotta refamiliarize myself by getting to the visual novel database. Yeah, Akira and is that the same lady? No. Her lady has different hair color. I don't know who that is. But anyways, he joined Happy Mania, huh? It was hard to tell what kind of hardships they were facing anyways, but almost all of them are a grimace as if they hated everything in this world. Amongst them was one man with a portable game system in his hand, left in his own virtual world. His fingers were quickly tapping the buttons and he fought some virtual enemy. There was one girl who sat with their arms around their backs. She looked like Sleeping Beauty. She looked like she was at peace. It was hard to imagine that she was a part of the same world as all the frowning people beside her. However, this wasn't the place to be taking a peaceful nap. Maybe this part is also going to show, by the way, how Aki joined their band. Without Chikanosuke being around this time. However, this wasn't a place to be taking a peaceful nap. The fact that she was so calmly sleeping in the open like this revealed to others that she was also a strange one. In short, not a single person gathered there was a respectable person trying to live a proper life in society. I wonder who's describing all of this. Even the waiters had a hard time coming to their table. All they ordered was the drink bar. Every person sitting in that happy atmosphere with their deep down frown was a member of the amateur band Happy Mania. He had sat at the table for nearly 2 hours now, but he had gathered there to discuss their upcoming schedule, but after 2 hours, hardly anything had been discussed. Murakami groaned amidst this heavy atmosphere. Lately, one thing has always been on his mind. He couldn't stop from pondering whether or not it was better for their band to break up. Their band's current situation was so disappointing that he couldn't shake that thought away. He couldn't feel the same energy their band used to have. He felt like they were only continuing out of habit now. Even gathering like this was only proof of that. But most of all, Murakami himself was having a hard time keeping his motivation. He couldn't feel the energy that always propelled him forward before. Furthermore, without their vocalist Aki, their ticket sales were horrible. When Aki was with the band, they had no problem selling more than their quota of tickets and making a big profit. But now they can barely manage to meet the quota. Has she? Okay, this is definitely then in the middle of Honda stuff or after, for sure. But this definitely then means that she went with the talent agencies like she did eventually in the bad end of Kirare's route. They were far from sold out shows now. The crowds were narrow packed like they were before. Their fans were starting to drift away as well. The vicious circle continued. Lately, Murakami came to realize that their band was bogged down and stagnating.
そろそろ潮時なのか。
He groaned to himself.
おい、何を弱気になってるんだ。
Yashida heard Murakami's matter and rebuked him for it.
リーダーのお前がそんなことでどうするんだ。多少売り上げが落ちたと言っても、まだ解散とかなんとかって話が出るほどじゃないだろう。いい時もあれば悪い時もある。単慮に走るな。またこれから盛り上げていけばいい話だ。
What Yashida said was correct. That's why Murakami couldn't argue back. He couldn't argue, but he couldn't bring himself to agree either. It's true that he weren't in a critical situation. Although they had difficulties, they were still selling their tickets, and the fans they did still have were passionately rooting for them. It wasn't like their band was facing any critical internal strife either. Just as Yashida said, it was still too early to think about breaking up. However, that was another reason he began to wonder if this is when they should stop. If they continue and their band's situation goes even worse, it's possible that their connections with the fans and each other will get bogged down as well. If they keep going and don't break up before they can write themselves anymore, then just how horrible will people think their band was? Murakami thought that it would be even sadder if they were forced to break up like that without any good memories. He didn't want to misjudge the time to quit and leave a dirty legacy behind. Murakami believed that if they decided to quit, then it should be done cleanly and manly. That was his opinion as the leader of this band, not his personal opinion.
5年か。
That's how much time had passed since Murakami first formed this band, Happy Cycle Mania. He could brag about the fact that he had left fairly good results behind those years. Although it was only in a small circle, they were rather well accepted. However, it wasn't all good either. When they first started out, they were able to move forward however they wanted. All their efforts were rewarded. As long as they earnestly tried their best, then they would find their happy ending. At least that was the rule in fairy tales. In reality, it was rare that anyone could make a clear distinction between a happy or a bad end. You could see that any end was nothing. In the real world, the only ending available is death. No. People work hard, try their best, and their performances are well accepted. That might be the end in some story, but reality doesn't end there. Once one performance goes well, the second performance needs to be better. In reality, that's not easy to do. Even if your second performance goes well, there will be another one. If that one doesn't sell as well, you can't call it a success. After the third one, there's a fourth. After the fourth one, there's a fifth. There's no end to this cycle. As it goes on, your stomach starts to hurt. Lately, that band has lost its touch. I like their old songs more. Soon you begin to fear they might be saying those things about you. Each success stops bringing the comfort you once then. How long and how hard must you try before you find that happy ending? Murakami felt like it might be easier on them to quit now so they can look back and say, I used to play in a pretty popular band back in the day. Their newest member, Amujara Jutara, questioned Murakami as he sang.
どうしたんですか村上さん。珍しく疲れてるじゃないですか。今年でバンド結成5周年なんですから頑張らないと。
そうだな。あっという間だったな。
He could feel the passage of time. His friend went on to college has now started wearing a suit every day. Yet Murakami hadn't changed at all. However, that didn't matter, since this was the path he chose to take. So then why did he get this hazy feeling after all this time? In the past, strength came to him naturally on his own. Yet lately, it hardly came to him at all. His mind would give in to even little things now. His lifestyle certainly wasn't getting any easier. He couldn't imagine how he would be living 5 or 10 years from now. He felt a sense of entrapment, like he was currently in the middle of a pitch-black tunnel with no end in sight. That was what tormented Murakami now.
Murakami らしくないな。
そうですかの。
When Ashura said that, he fell into thought. Was Ashura alright? Was he not acting like himself? How did he used to be? He couldn't even remember that. Yeah, maybe I am getting tired, Murakami thought at the time. Thank you for a penny and Miru. And he glanced beside him. He saw Miru fast asleep. She looked so comfortable there. There was once another who liked cats and said that he always wanted her to start working when he watched cats. As Murakami watched Miru sleep, he felt like he understood why. He felt the desire to stop thinking about everything and just sleep like she was. However, as the leader of the band with a fair popularity, Murakami wasn't able to pursue such comfort.
八木原さんだってハッピーサイクルマニアの5周年企画を夏にやりたいって言ってたじゃないか。今からそんなでどうする？
Just as Yasuda said, they were nearing an important event. They also had several performances already lined up in the meantime. After his legendary band Stagnation broke up, Yagira opened up his own music label. While he no longer stood on the stage himself, he decided to continue working behind the scenes to find promising new artists and help them make a name for themselves. Murakami's Happy Mania was one of Yagihira's key bands. That responsibility also weighed heavily on Murakami's shoulders. And I guess I understand why he's like this.
企画はいいんだが、客が来るのだろうかな。
Murakami was feeling unsure. He was worried that without Aki, they might not have the ability to draw that large of an audience anymore. If all it meant was embarrassing themselves, it didn't matter too much if they couldn't draw an audience. However, this time it would also mean causing problems for various people. He didn't like himself for thinking that, and hesitating before they even started. But thinking about it was part of his responsibility. Nita was still sleeping so comfortably.
だから客が来るように今から考えてるんだろ？
The band was scheduled for around 7 break. They should be able to perform once or twice before then. Yashira's idea was to find a way to use such performances to promote their band. They wanted to devise a schedule with that idea in mind, so they were trying to confirm everyone's plans. But even that discussion was moving along slowly. Things never stood still like this before. There had been times when their opinions conflicted, and they couldn't decide, but the discussion was never this empty. Why won't things go like they used to? As Murakami thought about this, he heaved an hour sighing.
どうしたものかな。
After parting ways with everyone in front of the restaurant, Murakami found himself at a loss. He felt like he had forgotten how to find his way home. As he stood in confusion, he pulled a cigarette out of his pocket, and he smoothly put it in his mouth and lit it. He realized just how accustomed he had become to smoking. And when did he pick up the habit of smoking? At first it was only 1 or 2 cigarettes a day, but now he could go through 2 or 3 packs a day. As a frequent smoker, yeah, yes, I do smoke, and not just this, it's just regular cigarettes. I still cannot fathom just how people can actually do that for reals, and even more than 3 packs sometimes, honestly. I can barely handle 4 or 5 at minimum, and unfortunately, I know that some people might say just quite, and yeah, but it's difficult. I'm not gonna lie with you. It's a difficult habit to just put down, and I am sort of trying, but just slowly switching to these, and then slowly to nothing. But unfortunately, the habit is just not going away. But maybe someday, for me, I hope at the very least. Anyways, enough time had passed to turn him from an innocent kid who never tried a cigarette into a heavy smoker. Now he couldn't even remember why he started smoking. I mean, in a way, it is also a stress reliever, as very bad as it is. And in case anyone's thinking of smoking, I'm not doing a very good job by having this round and vaping throughout the episodes and whatnot. But if you think about smoking, just don't do it. Just say no whoever's offering to you, even your greatest friend. It's a very bad thing. And in addition, as unfortunate as it is, if you continue to do that, you might actually catch something that's really bad, and probably maybe even incurable, unfortunately. So in other words, just stay healthy, drink water. If you want to have some Coca-Cola or whatever, sure. But if you have never picked up smoking, again, whoever's gonna offer you, just don't accept it, please. Now he couldn't even remember why he started smoking. He groaned with a cigarette in his mouth. There have been times where something trivial like this sent him the urge to just throw everything away.
俺らしくないか。
To be honest, I have never honestly seen you this depressed. Perhaps is the word I would choose to say. I mean, there are scenes where he's depressed about not getting a girlfriend or whatever, but other than that, no. He's either been serious or an idiot or a very helpful friend throughout the entirety of Kira Kira. But not like this. But then again, it's understandable why. Oh, Goose. At that moment, the cell phone in his pocket rang. He had set it on sound while they had their discussion. He checked the number on the sub-display, and the next instant his mind felt as if a heavy pocket lifted. His best friend was calling him. Chikanasuke. When he arrived at the designated bar, he found his friend still wearing his suit.
Yo, こっちだ、こっち。
Motherfucker, you're getting a voice now about times! Also, yoik. Shikanosuke waved his hand at Murakami.
Yo, こっちだ、こっち。
But a pretty solid voice. There were several bottles of beer, along with some edamame and yakitori sitting at the table. What is an edamame? Edamame are young, green, and mature soybeans. Oh, beans. Wait, what is yakitori? It's chicken. On a stick. Oh, I'm gonna show that. Fuck yeah. I'll give that a shot. When I'm in a Japanese restaurant again in the case. If it's gonna be on the menu for sure. But anime, I don't know about that one though.
すみません。こっちビールもう一本とグラスね。
You really you're really waste in this, huh? But I do remember you're not really waste in DHB versus Deirdre's, but then again, that fan disc of both Deirdre's and Kira, well, Shikanosuke is focused as the main character again, so I can't understand I can't understand why he's not wasting there, I suppose. He ordered Murakami's share with an experienced manner.
親父だ。
Then he says Shikanosuke acting just like a salaryman, young. Murakami couldn't help but smile.
なんだ。テニスをやめるときと同じようなこと言ってら。
Young. That was his first response to Murakami. In contrast to Murakami and his recent lack of motivation, Shikanosuke was smiling and having fun. When Shikanosuke pointed that out, Murakami thought back. When Shikanosuke had quit the tennis club, Murakami lost all of his motivation and quit along with him.
全
Damn.
然変わってないな。お前らしい。
Although they were only casual words to Shikanosuke, he made Murakami feel relieved.
そっか。やっぱりこっちの方が俺らしいのだな。
That afternoon, he didn't have any energy and was told he wasn't acting like himself. But now he realized that this is what he meant. It's so weird to hear Shikanosuke actually being voiced after all this time. I'm not gonna lie with you, still. That realization alone was enough to brighten his mood.
さすが前島だ。俺のことをよく知っている。持つべきものは親友だな。みんな俺のいいところしか見ないから困ってしまう。
As Murakami quickly nodded, Shikanosuke wore a mixed expression. Yoink.
なんでけなしたら喜んでるんだよ。何かおかしな性癖に目覚めたわけじゃないだろうな。
Murakami gulped down his liquor and hiked spirits.
で、お前の方はちゃんとやれてるのか？
Just as he looked, Shikanosuke was a salaryman now. Murakami had heard that he was picked up by some small company, but he hadn't yet heard how things were going there.
小さな会社だけどなんとかやってるよ。小さいから新人でもそれなりに仕事任してくれるし、任せられるとやりがいも責任感も出てくるしさ。
そうかそうか。
Shikanosuke had sure grown into an adult in Murakami's eyes. He was a little jealous and a little waxed. He also felt like he was being left behind. However, he was also sincerely happy. He was happy to hear that his friend was doing well at his company.
無難に会社勤めができるようになるなんて、お前も成長したのだな。
As Murakami spoke with full sincerity, Shikanosuke looked back at him with disagreement.
お前どれだけ俺のことをダメ人間だと思ってたんだよ。俺だって会社勤めぐらいできら。
Going, I don't think it's just solid. I think I really like the voice they picked for Shikanosuke at this point.
そうかそうか。それよかった。
Murakami didn't seem to care about Shikanosuke's disgruntled luck. In Murakami's eyes, he had only said the way he felt. And he was with Shikanosuke. He didn't have to worry about things like how others felt about him.
だけどあれだな。ちゃんとサラリーマンってやつをやれてるのかどうか自分じゃよくわからないよ。
This time, Shikanosuke spoke earnestly.
スーツ着て名刺吸って会社に通ったらサラリーマンっていう生き物になれるのかと思ってたけれど、どうもそんな単純なものでもないらしい。
そうなのか。でも問題なくやれてるんだろ
さあどうなんだろうな。職場のみんなはいい人ばっかりだから何も言わないけど、やっぱりまだまだ不甲斐ないところばかりだと思うよ。そうそう、下山さんって人がいるんだけど、その人なんてすごいんだ。
No matter how you looked at it, that man was just your average Joe salary man. But Shikanatsuki happily talked about how when it came time to work, he demonstrated as much shrewdness as section chief so-and-so. Oh! Even though he was just an ordinary salaryman who went home to be handpicked by his wife and worried about his mortgage, sorry.
そういうのもかっこいいものだな。
そうなんだよね。それに世の中そういう普通の人たちが頑張ってこうして成り立ってるんだなって思うんだよ。何人かのスーパーヒーローなんかより1億高の普通の人たちの方がずっと偉いんだってさ。
He was just talking about his work, but Shikanotsuki's words sounded like lyrics recited from a punk rock music. Shikanotsuki may have quit his band, but Murakami was happy to see his rock soul still remained. No. Right now, Shikanotsuki was more of a punk rocker than he was. Murakami truly believed that Shikanotsuki had grown quite mature.
とにかくそういう人たちを見ているとさ、自分なんかさっぱり大人になった気なんてしないよ。人間って自動的に大人にはなれないものなんだな。
そうか。
まだまだしなくちゃいけないことばっかりだ。でも今までの人生だっていつでもそうだったような気がするよ。まあ俺はどうやっても俺なんだってことなんだろうな。
そうかもな。
No matter where or what you do, so long as you live life to the fullest, that person will always be them.
やはり前島も成長したんだな。
Yeah.
まあ昔はろくでもなかったからな。
Shikanotsuki recalled something, and then wore a troubled expression. With a serious look at his face, he turned towards Murakami.
あの時はごめんな。ちょっとお前を困らせようと思っただけだったんだけど。
For a moment, Murakami was confused by his sudden apology. He soon realized what Shikanotsuki was talking about, though. After starting to reach his final performance, Shikanotsuki had confessed about what happened to Kirari's father at the hospital. Oh, that. Yeah.
何も謝ることはないだろう。俺が聞いたことに答えただけじゃないか。
そう言ってもらえると気が楽になるよ。
That's how it was, though. It's true that Shikanotsuki's confession went very heavily on Murakami, and perhaps it continues to weigh on his life. But Shikanotsuki was bearing an even heavier burden on his own shoulders. Yeah. If sharing those feelings with Murakami made his burden any lighter, then Murakami was happy to share it. However, perhaps that was also a thorn on Shikanotsuki's heart. If he's apologizing after all this time, it probably is so.
あんなことは全然大したことはないんだ。前島は案外つまらないことでくよくよするやつだからな。もっと大きなことで悩めよ。
そうかもな。
Back then, Murakami was worried for Shikanotsuki, but it looks like Shikanotsuki has managed to recover. His relation with Kirari hasn't changed either. Murakami thought that maybe his relationship with her was helping him mature. It's the bonds that people share with other people which make them all grow up.
シーノといえば最近すごいじゃないか。
Murakami changed the topic to something lighter. Kirari was now a leading vocalist, and while she didn't have much exposure on TV programs, a famous foreign band member became a fan of hers, and her career is doing well. Right now, she was on tour in Europe. She was always flying around from a place to now. I wonder if she's gonna be with the guy I'm thinking of from Daredrops at this point. Honestly.
お前シーノと離れてて心配じゃないのか？
We're gonna get to that guy when we're gonna be playing Daredrops. Murakami thought he'd tease his friend, so he tried to agitate him a little. He also hadn't had a single girlfriend of his own yet, so he was a little irritated. However, Shikanosuke wasn't flustered at all and just casually nodded.
そうだな。あいつは無鉄砲だからな。変なことに巻き込まれやしないかといつもドキドキしてるよ。
Shikanosuke's response was completely up to Mark. Murakami couldn't help but find his friend amusing and carefree.
いやそういう意味じゃなくてだな。なんかこうあるだろ、男女の。
As Murakami made his roundabout explanation, Shikanosuke finally understood what he was asking.
それはないな。
Shikanosuke easily denied any such fears. It came so natural to him that Murakami was disappointed. From Murakami's point of view, any and every couple who spends their time living apart should be worried inside.
そんなに簡単に否定してしまっていいのか？男と女というのは離れてるだけでいろいろエラーが起こるものじゃないのか？
He didn't truly understand, but that's what he thought. Still, Shikanosuke's confidence didn't waver.
知ってるだろ？俺とあいつはいろいろあって、それだけに強い信頼の絆で結ばれてるんだ。俺もあいつを信じているし、あいつだってきっと俺のことを信じてくれてるはずだ。だからちょっと離れてるぐらいなんでもないんだ。
As he watched his friend's dramatic speech, Murakami gave him a faint nod.
なるほど。
Murakami honestly accepted his friend's explanation. This time, Shikanosuke was the one let down.
いや、ここは突っ込めよ。素直にうなずかれると恥ずかしいだろ。
He thought he knew how pure Murakami was, but he didn't think he would still be as pure as he was when they were kids.
そうなのか？だってすごく納得してしまったんだ。冗談だったのか？
いや、冗談じゃないけどさ。お前はやっぱり変わらないな。
Shikanosuke was a little bored about whether someone as pure as Murakami would make it in this filthy world. You're welcome. There are plenty of things in society that await to hurt someone as pure as him. This was a hard-boiled world where kindness alone wouldn't let you get by. Dax. At that moment, Shikanosuke's cell phone rang and he opened it up.
あ、メールだ。キラリから。
Hey!
噂をすればというやつだな。
Shikanosuke tapped some buttons and brought up the text message. Murakami peered over his shoulder and read the screen. This is what was written in the message from the lover who shared a strong bond of trust with him. Shika-kun! Hey, are you? You're not cheating, are you? I don't want you to cheat on me! Every day I'm so bored I can hardly sleep! You absolutely have to call me later, okay? I can't wait to come back to Japan and see you again! Yeah, likewise. The next message kept going on. It went on about how Shikanosuke's attitude sounds strange last time. So she worried he might be cheating on her. Then onto his recent trip and how she wondered if it was with another girl or not. As long as her text was, that was about the only kind of thing she had written about.
なるほど。強い信頼の絆か。うんうん、わかるぞ。
見るなよ。
Yawning. When he noticed Murakami, he quickly closed it, but it was already too late. After reading all of it, a smirk graced Murakami's lips as he looked at his friend.
浮気はやめておけよ。お前には嘘は無理だ。
してないって。
Although he teased his friend, Murakami was touched by her text. Kirari's text filled him with deep emotion. Regardless of what she wrote about, that screen of text was more than just a font. It hopped, skipped, and danced. Although it was only mechanically displayed letters, he could see her expressions and wide range of emotion. Same here. Even if it was only text, he knew that it belonged to Kirari. Even in such casual places as that, who could get a glimpse of Kirari's great talent? That tiny fact left a terribly strong impression on Murakami. Those with talent will shine, no matter where they go or what they do. That's what he thought. Even if their surroundings were dark, they would shine and bring light to them. No matter how deep the darkness was, that fact would never change. Perhaps if he had talent like Kirari does, then he could easily break out of his current slump. No, if he had her talent, he would never have fallen into this slump.
そんなにバンドのことは深刻なのか？
As Murakami fell into thought, Shikonosuke spoke up with concern. He had already put away his cell phone.
こんなに音楽をやるのが辛いと思うのは初めてだな。俺はもうダメかもしれない。
Perhaps because he was tipsy, or perhaps because he was with his close friend, Murakami was able to honestly voice his fears. He swallowed down the last cup of beer in his glass and ordered another one. The beer he drank quickly began to run through his body. It was pretty pathetic for a liquor dealer's son.
ああ、あの頃バンドを始めたばかりの頃って俺らは何を考えてやっていたんだっけな。
A new bottle came to the table. Shikonosuke picked it up and poured his friend a glass. This was one form of communication at a bar. That was probably also the reason why Shikonosuke ordered bottle beer instead of draft. It was something he had picked up from his company. Murakami took a drink of the fresh beer. He couldn't finish the glass though.
何をやっていたんだろうな。お前は覚えているか？
俺はパートタイムのつもりだったからな。
Murakami remembered how Shikonosuke joined his band by just going along with the flow. Murakami was the one who drew him into it. Oh, he still joined in Murakami's band for a little while?
ただ飛び込んでみたらそこから見える風景があんまり物珍しくってキラキラしてて、だからもっと先に行くとどんな景色が見えてくるんだろうって、ただそれだけで進んでいったような気がするよ。なんて言うんだろう、フロンティアスピリッツ？
Shikonosuke spoke jokingly with a smile. Murakami tried to smile with him, but couldn't.
どうしてあの頃はギターを弾いてるだけであんなに楽しかったんだろうな。夜中に突然新しいフレーズを思いついて真夜中なのに起き出してギター弾いたりさ。あの頃はどうしてあんなにキラキラしてたんだろうな。
うん、そうだな。
Those distant days long past still shined in their eyes. Murakami's eyes narrowed as if he was staring into those brilliant days. By the time he left the bar, the date had already changed.
遅くまで引き止めて悪かったな。明日も仕事なんだろう。
まあなんとかなるさ。最近はさ、朝目覚ましが鳴る前に自然と目が覚めるんだぜ。
Hey. Shikonosuke proudly smiled. To Murakami, the look of someone living out their days with self-confidence seemed so radiant.
村上こそ そんなに飲んで明日は大丈夫なのか？
俺は昼頃起きれば大丈夫だからな。
As heartily as he drank, Murakami didn't feel very drunk at all. He was certainly drunk about halfway through, but at some point he started to sober up. Maybe he was worrying too much. He knew that himself, but he couldn't help it.
じゃあまたな。
あ、村上。
As Murakami waved and turned to leave, Shikanosuke called him back.
お前のことだからまだ当分ごちゃごちゃ悩むんだろうけど、俺と比べたりするなよな。
As Shikanosuke issued his warning, Murakami was startled. He was just about to start thinking that very thing. As Shikanosuke talked about his company, Murakami thought about how he seemed like a proper person now and felt a large gap between them. Compared to Shikanosuke, he wasn't being of any use to society. Those abject thoughts were about to fill his mind. Did Shikanosuke warned him before those thoughts arose? His best friend knew him well.
俺とお前を比べたって何の意味もないぞ。お前はお前の道を行けよ。
Shikanosuke gave Murakami an encouraging smile. Shikanosuke still seemed both more mature and brighter than he did.
お前がどんな道を進むのか、俺はそれを見てみたいんだ。
俺はどんな道を目指してるんだろうな。
Murakami said that like it didn't affect him, and Shikanosuke could only return a better smile.
そんなの知るか。じゃあまたな。
Now that it was cold-hearted, Shikanosuke just said what he had to say and left his best friend behind to face his troubles on his own.
俺の道と言われてもな。
As Murakami found himself puzzled again, he looked up at the night sky. Murakami couldn't bring himself to take the next step. He didn't see any sense as to what path he should follow. He felt like he had wandered into a cul-de-sac where the streets were impossible to see.
どうしたものか
I mean, I know that word from end and Harry, but what does that mean exactly? A street or passage that is closed at one end. Huh. For the most part of the series, it did felt like they were all enclosed in one space. And Ed and Eddie. So, he muttered his question up towards the night sky, but the stars gave him no answers. Damn.
おっす、よろしくです。おっす。
Sora drearily watched as Jutara Dakaji handed out tissues. Of course, Sota was supposed to be working just like them, but he was resting against a guardrail.
本田、お前ちゃんとやれよな。
だって俺はこんなことをするために生まれてきたわけじゃないんすよ。ティッシュ配りなんて適当にやっておけばいいんす。
Okay, I'm sorry, Honda, but I can see why people are giving you I'm scared look. As unfortunate as it sounds. And, I wonder, is he a part-timer still with habits like Mania, or is he a full-timer this time? As soon as Beto those words out, Jutara heaved a sigh and lowered his voice as well now.
だって俺はこんなことをするために生まれてきたわけじゃないんすよ。ティッシュ配りなんて適当にやっておけばいいんす。
He definitely sounds like he has a really decent singing voice. Just from that voice alone, so...
そんな風に車に構えるのは良くないぞ。こういう下積みのようなこともバンドの肥やしになると思え。
ああ。
So, full-timer? Jutara was completely serious and Sota was left dumbfounded? Or could she continue to hand out tissues in silence with only a slight pause? I gotta check the previous episode, and everyone at the bar CG. Okay, he's not in the background. Well, the episode now about Alice and what position he is in regards to this band.
そんなこと言ってるからジュタさんはいつまでたってもパーッとしないんすよ。
Sota was the youngest member of the group. He at least paid the minimum amount of attention to how he said things, but he didn't watch his behavior at all.
パッとしないってのはどういう意味だ。お前喧嘩売ってんのか。
So he's a full-time member this time. Jutara was getting agitated. Jutara came from a family who ran a karate dojo. As a result, Jutara has been trained in karate since he was a child, and he acts as an instructor as well. Also Yoing. And Jutara glared at someone that should have placed a lot of pressure on them, but Sota barely gave him the time of day.
わかったっす。そんなに言うなら配ってきますよ。
But that said, Sota picked up a whole cardboard box full of tissues. He just pussied out. Wow. And good. I think seeing him being beaten by 10 drunk guys was enough, honestly. Just as they were wondering what he planned to do, they realized he was approaching a homeless man.
おい、本田。
Oh.
なあ、これやるよ。
Sota gave the cardboard box and everything in it to the homeless man. Then he casually made his return.
終わったっす。
Jutara was dumbstruck. He couldn't have just done that, could he? Jutara couldn't understand Sota's actions at all. Well, I mean, what he did was not wrong, but you guys need to get, you need the money. So, Sota's skill with the guitar wasn't bad, but it wasn't worth mentioning either. It was mediocre for someone in the music industry. Jutara was confident that he had far more skill. When it came to singing, he put in great energy, but otherwise it wasn't anything special. There was nothing unique to his vocals like there were to Aki's. In short, Sota was merely mediocre. That's why Jutara found it strange that he could hold such unwavering confidence and such an odd sense of scale.
ちょっと休憩しましょうよ。
Then he came back sort of calmly. Calmly. God damn it, I just came to pick up my water. I think in between this and the original Kira Kira visual novel, when it comes to grammatical errors, this one's a big winner. And the amounts it has in such a short amount of time. My god, man. I'm not angry though. Some of them are just really funny like this one. Only Jutara had any hesitation anyways. Akaji was already starting to take his break. Akaji was also bad at getting along with people, but he had great skill as a keyboardist. It made sense when he found out that he had learned the piano since he was young. And as far as I remember, it's a bad idea to take away whatever he's playing. Sorry, the vacuum jump scared the hell out of me and I had to stop for a little bit. Anyways, Jutara had come to know many different people in this world, but whenever he found people like this, he always felt disappointed about how average and boring he was. He had once let that complaint slip in front of Sota. Oh boy.
それだけ背が高ければいいじゃないですか。
When Sota gave him that casual response, Yutaro was speechless. He never knew that Sota was jealous of his height.
ユイが前ファッション雑誌のなんとかいうモデルがかっこいいって言ってたんすよ。どこがいいのか聞いたら背が高くてかっこいいんだって。俺それで一時期背の高いやつはみんな死ねって思ったんですよね。
I gotta say one more thing about his face. He kind of looks like he belongs in Beavis and Butthead universe, I'm not gonna lie. With the shit he pulls off from that. Sota muttered those merciless words of resentment as if he was cursing the whole world. Even at moments like that, Sota held no hesitation. It was a line Jotaro would never say himself.
俺にもう少し背があればな。ユイも俺にすぐ惚れたに違いないんだが。
That was definitely before. Actually, definitely after sex with Yui. But okay, somewhere after the contest, they didn't win Super National instead of. This Yui girl came up often in Soda's conversations. When Jotaro asked if she was his girlfriend, Sota gave him a look of disgust.
ロックンローラーに女はいらないんすよ。
Okay, she is his girlfriend. It's just he is being a major pain. Honestly. After that, he told him to stop talking about women, and Sota and Jotaro began to hit it off. Jotaro held the exact same opinion. That opinion came from Murakami, but that's another story. Okay?
しかし、最近しけてるっすよね。
Sota sat with his legs spread out on the street, drearily looking up at the sky.
しけてるって何がだ。
皆さんのバンドっすよ。
Sota refused to call Happy Mania his band. He didn't seem to think it was his band at all. He was only helping. Okay, he still does. To put it badly, he was just a guest. To put it in office terms, he was a seat filler. That's what he said to everyone. Murakami was also letting him act that way. That's why Sota would say rude things to Okaji and Jutara. As for the hard times he mentioned, well, 3 of them do. Everyone could sense it one way or another.
村上さん、何か悩んでるみたいだな。俺としてはあんま細かいことに悩まないでビシッと決めてほしいんだが。
村上さんあんななりして繊細だから。
Okaji nodded his agreement. Murakami looks like he would be a thick-skinned person, but he can be extremely delicate at times. It often vexes those around him.
あんなでかい図体してるくせに、あの人ナイブすぎるんだよ。柄じゃないっての。
そう言うな。ハピマニだって今じゃ中堅どころのバンドなんだ。それをまとめてるんだから、俺らにはわからないいろいろな苦労があるんだろう。
Okaji nodded again in agreement with Jutara. Happy Psychomedia was a band with a fair amount of success in this area. Their band wasn't that popular with the general audience, but their unusual fixation on musicianship and their unusual performances gave them tremendous popularity amongst several enthusiasts. Furthermore, their former vocalist Aki is now a professional musician. When a band produces a professional musician, they gain a certain status. Also, since they've survived in this world for almost 5 years now, they held connections everywhere. That's how Happy Taco Mania came to be a fairly well-known band. Jutara was trying to point out that as the leader of their band, Murakami went through a lot of unnoticed troubles. However, Soda was the only one who wouldn't accept their excuse.
嫌ならやめちまえって話ですよ。やるならビシッとやる、やらないならスパッとやめる。どっちかにしろって。
He does his words out with a little amusement, so that doesn't like thinking hard about anything. However, they were also rash remarks.
お前な。
Just as Yutara was about to scold him, Soda turned his cheek away and prepared to ignore the coming lecture. Yutara heaved a sigh.
お前は簡単でいいよな。ね、岡地さん。
Akachi nodded. Akachi was about to see Ninja as Murakami. He was also close to Murakami. I generally would have thought that he was gonna get assaulted in that flashback, and some sort of fight was going to happen, but no. It wasn't really, just something else. Wacom got turned on again, and I lost my train of thought. Oh wait, about Akachi, yeah. I thought he was gonna get insulted the flashback, but no, never mind. It was something else. Akachi was about to see me as Murakami. He was also close to Murakami. That's why he had an idea about how Murakami was feeling. Shooter's position was closer to Sota's, but he was sympathetic towards Murakami. But Sota was the only one who didn't understand. Maybe he didn't want to understand.
村上さんだってこんな人生の落語者しかやらないようなこと好き好んでやってるんだから、きっと親とか泣かせてるはずっすよね。
Sota wasn't asking for their opinion. He was deciding that was the case on his own. Archu quietly listened. They each had a memory like that. They were in no position to argue against him. Maybe I'm gonna just combine this with the previous footage I've recorded for this. I picked up a bad time to record this, honestly. They each had a memory like that. They were in no position to argue against him.
だったら死の子言わずにやれって話ですよ。なんで嫌になったらやめりゃいいんだ。就職して親孝行でもすりゃいい。あ、村上さん家の実家は酒屋でしたっけ？だったらつけば喜ばれるんじゃないですか？
Yutara looked like he was about to voice his complaints, but Akaji wore a smile for once. Akaji thought he understood how Sota felt. Akaji had been down that path a few times himself. He didn't say so, but Akaji thought that Sota would come to understand Murakami's feeling one day too.
こんな感じになったのって、アキさんがいなくなってからっすよね。アキさんがいなくてハピマニって大丈夫なんすか？
Hard to say. Maybe he will. The Sota this was someone else's problem, but Jotaro crossed his arms and agreed with Sota's concern.
アキさんのボーカルの存在感は抜群だったからな。
With that lament, Jutara heaved a sad sigh. Jutara felt like the fire of the band had disappeared along with Aki.
アキさん、戻ってきてくれないんすかね。
Akaji quietly shook his head and denied that possibility. He didn't think that Aki would be coming back.
そうっすね。アキさんはもっと上を目指せる人だし。
Jutara admired Aki. He always thought that she was great, but now that she was a professional, she was out of his reach. His admiration would end as merely admiration. Perhaps that's why he strongly wanted her to become even more famous, despite his longing for her to rejoin their band.
なんとかうちのバンド、アキさんがいた頃みたいにもう一度盛り上げられないだろうか。ソータも何かいいアイデアはないか。
悪いけど俺もそろそろ自分のバンド作ろうと思ってるんですよ。もしハピマニが解散したら俺と一緒にやらないっすか？
今はそんな話はしてないだろう。それに俺はハピマニに骨を埋めるつもりだ。
Noble?
岡地さんは？
Akaji sadly shook his head. Sota acted like a lone wolf and didn't have much traction for Akaji.
ちゃまあいいっすけどね。
He at least made the offer, but he hadn't expected anything from the beginning.
それに悪いがハピマニ解散なんてありえないからな。ですよね。
さあな。
Akaji avoided the question. Jutara was irritated that he couldn't tell what Akaji was thinking.
だいたい八木原さんが解散なんて許さないだろう。今度の企画だってもう動き始めてるんだし。
Since this year was Happy Mania's 5th anniversary, the summer event was going to be huge. It was frustrating to see their band just shape at such an important event looming at their horizon.
そういえばミロはアキさんとまだ連絡取ってるらしいな。ミロに頼んでアキさんに戻ってきてもらえないものかな。
It's not just an event, it's because a certain new musical producer as well that he's stressing the fuck out. Jutara still hadn't given up on Aki yet, so they couldn't understand how Jutara felt that. Why Jutara felt that way?
そんなにアキさんがいいんすか？あんな女わがままばっか言って面倒なだけですよ。
You're not that any different, and on top of that, you're a huge jackass a lot of the times.
そういや、ソータとアキさんは仲悪かったな。キャラが被るのか？
Damn. Well, they are kind of the same. Yeah, exactly alike.
誰があんな女と被るんすか？
You annoying dipshit. Should have became indignant. I'm sorry, but at this point, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't like this main character. At first, he seemed like a key person. He didn't give in to what his friend was doing, the drugs, the prostitutes. Let's be honest here. He didn't just get together with just a bunch of fans, really. Sorry, I got interrupted again. So it became indignant. He didn't care for Aki's type.
まあ何にしたって村上さん次第っしょ。あの人が作ったバンドなんだし。
まあそうだけどな。明日の練習はビシッとしてくれるといいんだが。
Yeah, really had a bad feeling about it? This was the first time Jutara ever had a reason to worry about a practice session since he joined Happy Mania.
何もなきゃいいんだがな。
We shall see. Yeah, okay.
やめだやめ。
Yeah, okay, it's not going well. Yeah, I'm definitely combining with the other footage I recorded to this one, and I'm gonna start a brand new episode next time. But yeah, anyways, as time went down, as many things happened that included Honda, I just generally don't think I like him much at this point. I'm still definitely gonna be finishing this, sure. But yeah, I finally found one character from Kira Kira series that I thought I really enjoy for the first time, actually. Now that I think about it, wow. Anyways, other than that, I'll see you in another episode real soon.